Alright, I'm going to take on two topics at the same time here. And the reason why I'm taking on this topic here is because I had an interesting question being asked to me in the comment section about 50 Cent and the whole We Are the World era, as I will call the 2010s. And hold on, let me read this to you guys real quick. Big shout out to Anthony Cleason 3559. And he asked this question here. He asked me, I'm not saying you said 50 Cent destroyed unity of hip hop, but that was the sentiment among fans and media in the early mid 2000s that 50 Cent did destroy unity of hip hop. But I ask you this question: does beef help or hurt hip hop? You said before Kendrick versus Drake beef, and even before Drake versus Meek Mill, that it was the We Are the World era. Why was it the We Are the World era a bad thing in your eyes? And why should Young Money be discredited from being an era as a part of unity, being compared to beef competition? Good questions right here. Now, I'm going to answer the 50 Cent thing first. I don't think 50 Cent per se destroyed unity, because there was always a competitive landscape amongst New York City hip hop, going back to the Rough Riders, Murder Inc. and Rockefeller. It's always been about competition and flexing your skills and doing diss records at time and dropping subliminals. That's always been the New York thing. But there was always a mutual respect level. It wasn't really no full-fledged beef until, Jay-Z and Nas kicked that off. But for the most part, everybody collabed, and they weren't buddy-buddy, but there was a mutual respect. And if you look at what 50 Cent did when he blew up, he brought the competition aspect into the 2000s. We talking about Dipset, D-Block, and G-Unit. They all were competing for street supremacy in the 2000s with the mixtape circuit. But then you can't also say that he killed New York hip-hop, because he got Mace, he got M.O.P., he got Mobb Deep, even though he couldn't do nothing with M.O.P. probably due to Rockefeller. But he tried. And if anything, that should go to Ebro. Because Ebro, you the program director. Just like 50 said in that interview. You had the power to make and break acts. You didn't want to do it. You were the same dude that was saying that Sean Price and Duck Down and all these underground rappers were minor league. You were the same guy that was putting down underground hip hop for almost a decade. You was the same dude that was saying that if anybody didn't like Drake, they don't get pussy. You were doing that. So all the artists that came from New York felt they had to follow your format. So it was Ebro that did more damage to New York hip-hop unity, not 50. Now, where 50 kind of did wrong is he kind of made it hard for his own camp. Like, when you start throwing diss records at random people, it made it hard for his team. Like, for example, look at this clip where Alicia Keys, they asked him about Alicia Keys, they had G-Unit about Alicia Keys, about her comments against gangster rap. And, Yayo and Banks tried to take the diplomatic route, and 50 just shitted on her and say, I don't fuck with Alicia Keys. And they was like, damn. So, it made it hard for them to really build relationships in case they fall out with Fifth. That was the problem with G-Unit, in a way. And eventually that becomes stale. When people start predicting your moves, it don't sound fresh anymore. It sounds like a formula. And it showed. That's why people rejected it and chose Kanye on the sales battle. And that opened up the We Are the World era, because Kanye ushered good music. Then Lil Wayne came in with Young Money. Then you have Rick Ross with MMG. Now, when the 50 era died out, nobody was really trying to do diss records no more. Nobody was really trying to compete and do diss records no more. And that kind of made things a little bit watered down. That makes these artists a little too relaxed, so to speak. That's where you start seeing the funny shirts. That's why you're seeing niggas carrying purses. It became less and less competitive as the year went on. It became more money and image driven, which led to the landscape to being softer. So you didn't have Drake telling Kanye, you gotta step your bars up, or I'm coming for you on this track. Them niggas don't even write. So they doing it like, okay, we gonna get a big bag out of this. We just do the paperwork later on. But I fucks with you. You like a brother. Let's just do the track. Same thing with Lil Wayne and Big Sean, that song. Same thing with Nicki Minaj and Rick Ross. Now, since they all collab, they didn't try to push one another in terms of creativity. They didn't push each other when it came to the bars. They pushed each other when it came to how big the brand was going to be. Because they figured the brand is big enough. We don't really have to push one another. We just do our thing, turn it in, and let's go by our business and let's make money together. It kind of reminds me of the NBA, where nobody's really competing no more. Everybody buddy. We are the world. Now, there were some great moments. There was some great music being made during the blog era. I will say that. All these guys, you also had the Joey Badasses, the Tyler the Creators, the Wiz Khalifas. You had all these acts. That's needed in hip-hop as well. But the energy in me loves that competition shit, man. That's just the renaissance of that shit. That's just I love hearing collabs. And it ain't got to be even diss records, my man. It could be just a collab where you could feel the competitiveness within the song. Listen to Eminem and Jay-Z on Renegade, you could feel the competitiveness. You know what I'm saying? What's another one? Even Forever. Eminem was ready to murk all these guys on the track. We talk about Drake, Kanye, and Lil Wayne. Eminem was ready. Now Drake, to his credit, he set the tone already when he talked about last name ever, first name greatest. Eminem probably heard of him like, alright, I'm going to eat this dude up on his own song. And that's what I love. That creates better music. And see, the landscape also got relaxed because nobody was calling each other out. So that's where fragrant shit started to be allowed. You had Drake having with Ghost Riders. You had Ross, who was a former CO. You had Lil Wayne, who was wearing leggings. He was shitting on DJs. He was disrespecting black people. You had Nicki Minaj, who became a bipolar crash out, doing all types of disrespectful things. You had Kanye, who became while a genius, a egomaniac with a spoiled Napoleon complex. And yet, all this behavior was accepted because these guys were bringing in the big bucks. All these guys were the draw at the time. So, people tolerated it a little bit more. They dealt with it a little bit more because they wanted a feature. None of your favorite rappers were calling them niggas out because they wanted something out of it. But then, 2015 is where a lot of that started to change. Meek and Drake started beefing. That broke that whole We Are the World coalition right there. Now you probably had Kanye and Drake. They were working together, but 2019, Pusha and Drake. Notice the common denominator, Drake. That broke that up for Ye and Drake. So that got dissolved. And now today, you see the nature of these spoiled, entitled artists crashing out because they can't handle the fact that they under that different type of pressure. Nicki Minaj facing that pressure. That's why she doing these weird tweets every other week. Drake, we already covered that. Wayne, we already covered that. Him crying about the Super Bowl. Ye crying every week. Rick Ross getting pressed because of the DC Young Fly. Now he gotta be put on a microscope and explain himself. They weren't used to doing it. They were doing this weird shit for 10 years and they went unchecked. So now the vibe and energy is slowly starting to change a little bit. A lot of the gimmicky, singy songs shit is about to be laid way out of here. There's only a few of them left. The whole Atlanta rap scene is dying too. Lil Baby's almost toast. Young Thug is almost toast. The Migos, they're done. So the Atlanta rap scene that used to be the forefront of what hip hop culture was, that's dying off, man. Jeezy's doing sympathy music. Gucci ain't even rapping no more. things are changing now. So the rule book is slowly starting to come back. Now, is it going to come back to where it was? It's never going to go back to where it was. But since Kendrick won this battle against Drake, it changed the vanguard of how an artist should come into the game now. They got to really bring art into the equation. You can't just have a Drake stimulus package and just blow up overnight. No. Work got to be involved. These execs got to go back to work. The We Are the World era didn't have a lot of these people working. They just go ahead and just do little singles, stream it. They take all the cheese off the top. That was it. They got to work now. But to answer the question, I hope I answered that question real well, man. And so, let me know what you guys think in the comments, man. Subscribe, hit the like button. Peace.